Well, the assault on emulation continues as I found out today that Emuparadise will no longer host ROMs. I take it they were intimidated into discontinuing their service due to Nintendo's legal attack on other sites that hosted ROMs. And what a sad situation. I'm not going to go into my analysis of whether emulation is right or wrong. I've done that many times. But I want to just talk about Emuparadise as an entity. I had discovered it a little bit after I had discovered what emulation was. Emuparadise was something that I would say probably over the past 3 or 4 years I came to know. And by that point, I had explored emulation, but what Emuparadise offered that I thought was absolutely terrific and an example of why ROM should exist are all of the hacks and all of the translations of old, obscure Super Famicom, Famicom, PC Engine games that I would have never had the chance to play had it not been for the work of the translators and the fact that Emuparadise gave them a place to post their work. Not to mention the fact that, Emuparadise, it was secure, never had any viruses, and it had the absolutely, I think, best website for emulators. You could really discover the entire history of gaming, certainly since the NES. Maybe they had older systems as well, through to, I think, probably the PSP. So it was a passion project. It was a great resource. And the fact that it is the victim of Nintendo's greed is extremely, extremely irritating because what it points out, so many issues come to the surface here, but I think the biggest one is that when a company like Nintendo talks about their community, it is complete bullshit. Because unless they can control that community as a sales and marketing channel, they don't want it to exist. And think about all of the people who, over the years, used Emuparadise, discovered Nintendo franchises, became fans, and then went and played the new games in the franchise. Or conversely, people, if you're a little older like me, who purchased every Nintendo system, who had all of the big hits over the years, and then went to Emuparadise, kind of as a place to, in some instances, relive our youth if the cart wasn't working or we gave it away. That it was a storehouse not only for ROMs, but also for goodwill towards the gaming industry and Nintendo in particular. And I bet if you did a study, which I don't think anyone's going to do, but I bet you that sites like Emuparadise actually drove business towards Nintendo, even though they probably resulted in a few less sales for Nintendo's egregiously overpriced eShop titles. So the fair solution would have been to say, look, as Nintendo, we're going to go after sites that charge for these ROMs. We're going to go after people who sell and produce those R4 pirate cards that let you pirate more recent games for the DS and the 3DS. But we're going to turn a blind eye to these ROM communities that have grown up online over the years and let them be a way to foster love for our company. But Nintendo couldn't do that because they are insanely greedy. And they're really robbing us of true video game preservation. They're robbing us of access to the nostalgic feelings of our youth, and they're robbing potentially a new generation of players who could go on here and for free get in to the hobby. So they don't have to pay, $1,000 for a little Samson or $200 for an Earthbound cart, and could become fans and contribute then financially to video games as a whole, again, when they moved on to the new stuff and when they wanted to support the franchises that they love. So the answer, I think, is for channels a lot bigger than my own to really strike against Nintendo. Okay, you want to go after the community of retro gamers, you want to go after the passionate fan base that you've cultivated over the years, well, fine. We are not going to support you. We're not going to give you the free press that we have been doing. We're not going to, go insane when a new character is added to Super Smash Brothers. And we're not going to make videos like, oh, the top 5 Switch titles you need to experience, or the best 20 games on Switch, you must buy it now. I think there should be a social media blackout against Nintendo. Will it work? Who knows? But it would send a strong message that when your greed forces you to attack your most ardent supporters, something needs to be done.